Hello, you guys. So today we are going to look at Ecclesiastes 3, verse 1. It says, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven." So let me ask you this. Have you ever asked, why is this happening? Maybe you prayed for something and you felt like God hasn't been answering. Perhaps you have gone through a difficult season and wonder if it would ever end. But Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 reminds us that our lives are not controlled by chance. God has a purpose for every season. He knows exactly what He is doing even when we do not. Today we look at 3 truths from this verse that can help us trust God even through every season of life. The first truth is every season is appointed to God. The verse says, to everything there is a season. A season is a period of time, just like we have summer, spring, fall, and winter. Our lives go through different seasons. There are seasons of joy, sorrow, growth, waiting, and serving and testing. But guess what? Now, no season always lasts forever. Sometimes we wish we could stay in the good seasons forever, but God knows that we go the most in the difficult times. James 1 verse 2 through 4 says, "My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have whole perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, waiting nothing." God often develops our faith during the hard times. Think about this. Think about a tree. During the winter time, it looks lifeless, but underneath the ground, the roots is continuing to grow. When spring arrives, that hidden growth becomes visible. Many times, God is doing His greatest works in us while we cannot see it, while we are going through the hardest times. Don't despise the season you are in. Do not. Ask God, what are you trying to teach me? If you're going through a hard time right now, don't despise it. And if you're going through a good time, don't despise it. The second truth is God's timing is better than our own. And a time to every purpose. That's the next verse. Part of the verse. One of the hardest lessons for us Christians is learning to wait. I know that's mine. I hate waiting. I hate it. We want immediate answer. My pastor always says is God's not on microwave time. Microwave time. We want to be on microwave time, but we're not. That means it's not immediate. But we want it immediate answer, but God often says not yet. Consider these biblical examples. Abraham waited for years for Isaac. Right? Joseph waited years before becoming the governor of Egypt. David was anointed king long before he sat on the throne. None of God's promises failed. Isaiah 40 verse 31, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." Waiting isn't wasting time. Waiting is preparation. A farmer plant seeds and wait. He doesn't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. He trusts the process. Likewise, we must trust God's timing. Don't run ahead of God. Don't become discouraged because your prayers haven't been answered yet. God is never late. Because the dark truth is every season has a purpose. Notice the verse says, a time to every purpose. Notice, nothing in a Christian life is meaningless. Even trials has a purpose. Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. God doesn't say all things are good. He says he works them together for good. Joseph's prison was in prison, and that prepared him for the palace. David in the wilderness prepared him for the throne. Moses spent 40 years in the desert before leading Israel. Jesus spent 30 years preparing for 30 years of his public ministry. God was preparing each one of us for his purpose. Think about this. An artist may use dark colors along bright ones to create a beautiful painting. Looking at the dark brushstrokes by itself, it may not seem to make sense. But when the painting is complete, every stroke has its place. God sees the finished picture even when we only see the difficult moments. So you have to trust that God is working even when you cannot see the results. Remain faithful. Well, he has placed you today. I know I have to remember that. Every one of us is in a season right now. Some are rejoicing, some are grieving, some are waiting, some are serving. Whatever season you're in, remember, God appointed it. God controls it. God has a purpose for it, and God will use it for his glory if you trust him. Ask yourself this: am I trusting God's timing? Have I become impatient for God's plan? What lesson is God teaching me in this lesson? Will I remain faithful until God changes my season? Remember the promise of Galatians 6 verse 9. Let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Your season will not last forever. God's timing is always perfect, and stay faithful.